Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 105 of the Sim Racing Show. And this week, Gran Turismo 7 fans are starting to get a bit frustrated because Polyphony have just dropped a campaign with 2 exclusives, but the conversation about G7 is starting to shift to more than that. People are no longer satisfied with just another paint variant, another cafe menu, or another random 3-car update. They are waiting for the proper turning point update, the one that actually changes how the game feels long term. So the question is, are Polyphony listening, or are we still stuck in the same cycle? We'll get into that in just a second. And while G7 fans are waiting for the big update, Forza Horizon 6 is basically here, but the launch has gone properly chaotic after the full PC build reportedly leaked online. I've got the facts for you. Project Motor Racing might have just dropped the first real hint that VR support is coming. Take that with a massive sprinkle of salt everywhere. Revosim are continuing to build their full console ecosystem, weirdly. The next WRC game has officially changed studios, not everything it seems though, and engines, and Rennsport is trying to rebuild momentum with discounts and delayed DLC. So a very interesting sim racing show this week. So we've got a very strong GT3 update as well coming to RaceRoom, plus Truck Sim fans also debating whether the latest Euro Truck Simulator 2 and American Truck Simulator updates are actually enough. Let's get into it, because Gran Turismo 7 just dropped a viewer's gift campaign. They've been doing this for years, but instead this time, I would say, of making people excited, it's made them a bit frustrated. And the sim racer is saying, hang on, we need more from Gran Turismo 7. So what's happening is Polyphony are dropping 2 stealth model cars if you watch the Milan GT World Series broadcast inside Gran Turismo 7. That's a blacked out Porsche 911 G3R or the blacked out Toyota GT199 for manufactured nations respectively. Now this reminds me of when I pre-ordered Gran Turismo 7 in 2022, where you also got stealth edition liveries, but they're just liveries, they're just blacked out paint, they're not new cars, and people want more than just limited paint variants. They're waiting for Spec 4, which could be the proper turning point update. Now we need to see what Polyphony is actually going to tackle when they do, or if they bring Spec 4, but they have been polling about this. They have been asking people for their feedback. So I've been asking people also, what do you want to see in Spec 4? And I've been checking your comments, and it's pretty crazy. You want to see classic fictional tracks back, like Seattle, Tokyo R246, Autumn Ring, Costa di Amalfi, the proper Gran Turismo fan service stuff. You do also want to see the big real-world circuits as well, like where is Twin Ring Retegui, for example, where is Portimao, where is Silverstone. You also want to see a real single-player career, not just more cafe conversations, but actual progression-driven, and arguably not what happened with the Power Pack that's now been blasted wide open with the fact that you can now use garage cars. So better championships as well, proper rankings or groupings with Group 1, Group 2 Formula-style series as well, and longer multi-round events. Also sport mode, you guys want to see penalty overhaul, hasn't been on Gran Turismo's radar for a long time. Maybe smarter penalties, better ramming handling as well, like what do you do if someone clearly is ramming people off in turn 1. Better maybe DR and SR logic when it comes to organising lobbies as well, and maybe more trust in the race moderation. Maybe the ability to have stewards in race moderation would be great as well. And obviously I see you guys, the VR 2.0 quality of life, better HUD options, better awareness of the race going on around you, and ideally an audio race engineer as well. I also saw that you guys want better lobbies and league tools, so easier grouping with friends, better ways to share presets, better filters, searching lobbies by most populated, and more control for organised racing. And again, I see you guys, you want the more modern race cars, the current GT3s, the current hypercars. Like Gran Turismo has really missed the boat on the hypercars. Yes, we have the Toyota GR10 hybrid, but that was kind of at the very beginning of the hypercar wave. We do not have the 499p, even though we have the Ferrari Gran Turismo VGT. We don't have the Peugeot 9X8, which is crazy because Gran Turismo has a great relationship with Peugeot. We don't have the Porsche 963, which is absolutely insane. We don't have the Acura, which is insane given the Japanese connection. We don't have the Aston Martin Valkyrie, again insane. I went to the Gran Turismo World Series, I saw the Valkyrie road car there. So there's loads of hypercars that Gran Turismo is missing the boat on. If anyone saw the Spa race at the weekend, it was crazily exciting, really exciting, and people are desperate for that stuff as well. Also, just guaranteeing is a bit more offline access to Gran Turismo 7. We all know the pain that happened happens when the servers are down, economy fixes as well, like maybe a little bit better pricing that's going to respect our time. Also, perhaps the ability to sell parts, sell engines, stopping our garages becoming like a junkyard of duplicate items. And maybe some bigger long shot ideas, like maybe the free drive open area features, maybe just able to chill with people, maybe a car showcase area, and maybe more ways to just kind of breathe life into Gran Turismo 7 instead of rushing straight into GTA. So stealth models are, you know, cool. I don't mind stealth models, but people really now are looking for Spec 4, especially since Polyphony have dropped a load of Spec 4 hints. So a lot of time spent on Spec 4 this sim racing show. Let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I've missed something that you really want to see. Right, now to Forza Horizon 6. This week is massive because Forza Horizon is basically here. Like, we are days away from what might be the biggest racing game launch of the year. Japan, new progression, all the hype. It's one of those releases where even sim-only people are probably going to jump in to see what the vibe is like. And I've been part of the pre-release preview. I've given you my thoughts. I've done a ton of videos on wheels. I'm also part of the press preview, which I can't talk about yet, but I'll let you know just before. I think on the 14th of May, I can let you know about that. But right before launch, Forza Horizon 6 has had a nightmare scenario because the full PC build has reportedly leaked and people are pirating it. Now, you've got to be careful here. Playground Games are aware of this and have put out a statement, and the message is this: basically, if you run a cracked copy, they're going to ban you. Not just a little slap on the wrist. There are reports of bans that basically look permanent, like the year 9999. Also hardware bans as well. And Playground say this isn't a result of a mistake they made uploading the build to Steam. They say that there is some kind of like actor involved here. So you really don't want to get involved in this. I would say just wait for Forza Horizon 6 to come out. I think on the 14th you'll start seeing the previews, and I think it comes out in early access on the 15th. Just wait to see what happens then. If you want to see it, just go and buy the game or get it on Game Pass. I wouldn't risk your hardware getting banned by getting this cracked copy, because Playground look to be really on top of it. And talking about games people are desperate to see evolve, Project Motor Racing, which is featuring a lot in the sim racing show, might have just dropped a hint at the feature everyone keeps begging for, which is virtual reality. But before that, I just want to say a big thank you to the sponsor of this week's sim racing show, which is MOZA Racing, who are sponsoring with their MOZA R25 Ultra True Torque direct drive wheelbase, which is a 25 Newton meter wheelbase with telemetry, with lighting effects on the side, works with all your MOZA wheels, and is priced at just $899. Still expensive, but I think price for performance, it could be the best direct drive wheelbase out there at that range. Now, I use a lot of wheelbase on the channel, but the MOZA R25 is genuinely right up there. So if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. Also, check out the link in the description if you want to know more about the wheelbase. It is arguably a kind of future-proof wheelbase if you just want to have all that torque. Big thanks to MOZA for sponsoring the sim racing show. Now back to Project Motor Racing, because could it be the first real sign that VR is actually coming to PMR? Because they've dropped another update, and it's not a content drop at all, so no more JGTC, Super GT, so I can't say Super GT, all that kind of stuff. This is a under the bonnet tech patch. They've added a new rendering system called Multi-Draw Indirect, and the whole point is performance. Take load off the CPU and make the game better at drawing complex scenes without chugging. And that matters because it lines up with what people have been begging for since day one, triple screens and VR. Both of those ultimately punish you if your performance on the engine isn't efficient. So Project Motor Racing look to be upgrading their rendering pipeline first, so potentially it's kind of groundwork you'd expect before they even attempt VR. Now, I've got a lot of questions about this because Project Motor Racing, they said VR was important to them years ago. Then they changed to the Giants engine, which I think they said was going to make it easier for them to do VR over Unreal. But then VR wasn't there at launch. There were even some product pages that kind of listed VR, but VR is not in Project Motor Racing. And that was a real slap in the face to a lot of hardcore sim racing fans who were looking at Project Motor Racing as being their next virtual reality game. Now, Project Motor Racing is running fairly smooth for me now, and I can see virtual reality coming to this on PC, and obviously I'll be one of the first in the world to test it if that's the case, because I'm a massive VR sim racer. Now, I have to ask you the question, if Project Motor Racing adds solid VR support, would that be enough for you to go back to Project Motor Racing? Because that does seem to be a big hurdle. Or is it another example of the trust that Project Motor Racing have broken? Now onto hardware ecosystems, because Revosim have built out their lineup further. This is the brand of racing hardware from Nacon, who are currently experiencing financial hardship, but Revosim are carrying on and have expanded the lineup. So they've put 3 new peripherals up for sale, a load cell handbrake, a hybrid shifter, they call it a gearbox, it's a H pattern and a sequential, and a clutch pedal, and they're not cheap add-ons. It's $179 for the handbrake, $299 for the shifter, and $79 for the clutch pedal. Those are in pounds, I believe, but double check. So the ecosystem is getting fleshed out, and by the way, they're also doing a bundle where you can get all 3 for a little bit cheaper than that. But the thing that could actually move the needle for them isn't the peripherals, I would say. It's the console compatible RS initial base that should be coming as well. If that can come in at the right price, that's the product that can sell in volume, and then this whole ecosystem makes sense. So I'd say those peripherals on their own don't make a massive difference to anyone not already in Revosim. I have reviewed them, by the way. There is a review video on the channel. But when the console if and when the console stuff comes, then hang on, this could be a real competitor to Logitech, to Thrustmaster, to FANATEC. By the way, they've also released an Aston Martin rim, which is quite unusual, but I do quite like it, but it's quite weird. Definitely go check out my review if you want to see that. Now, staying with Nacon, actually, there's a big WRC story here too, because the next WRC game has changed hands. A lot of the people assume that the development of the next WRC game would stay with KT Racing, because they've basically been the long-term custodians of the series. But now it's been revealed that Grit Games are taking over development, and they're using Unreal Engine 5. And that's important because it means that the 2027 WRC game will be from Nacon a ground up rebuild rather than the next version of KT's existing framework, and UE5 could make a lot of sense there from a cost and tech perspective. But it's also going back to what we had with Codemasters and their WRC games until EA canned that. So it's very confusing what's going on. What's going on with KT Racing, I don't know. Who are Grit Games, I don't really know. The FIA have partnered with a set called Rally instead for their esports. So what does that mean for the official WRC license? Does it actually matter when you look at the cars that we like driving in AT Rally? It's like the Peugeot 306 Maxi. It's like the Subaru WRX. It's classic cars, not the new cars, because WRC is in a bit of a mess at the moment when it comes to manufacturers. So let me know what you think about the rally situation. I'm actually rallying a lot more than I used to, especially with my H-pattern shifters and my handbrakes as well. Now back to Rennsport, they're trying to stabilise after losing the console publishing deal with Nacon causing absolute carnage in sim racing. And now we're seeing the first proper attempt to bring people back in. They have now announced a 45% discount to the deluxe edition, the target price being floated at around €38. The idea is obvious: you lower the barrier to entry, pull more people in, rebuild the player base. And the first major update in 2026 and the first DLC pack are still penciled in for May, although May is ticking on now. And the big question is going to be anyway, is the price cut going to be enough? I kind of feel like Rennsport might be fiddling a little bit while Rome burns. They need to do something different here. There is good, in my opinion, there is good racing to be had in Rennsport. There is good racing. I've had good racing in Rennsport, but they need to do some drastic changes to make that work. It would be a shame if all that work gets wasted, but also no sim racer really owes Rennsport anything. So let's see what they do. Now on to a sim that's been quietly stacking wins lately. I know you want me to talk about it. RaceRoom. Actually quite a strong move for them because they've confirmed a GT3 update coming in June. You're listening, Kaz and Gran Turismo. Includes 4 GT3 cars, the latest Porsche 911 GT3R, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 Evo, the Lamborghini Temerario GT3 and the Ford Mustang GT3. It's all part of a DTM 2026 pack as well, and it's tied into DTM Esports. Now the Lamborghini is really the standout here because it hasn't shown up in a lot of other sims yet if you listen to that list. So for RaceRoom to get that in, that's a proper win for KW Studios. It's the kind of content that could make people look at RaceRoom again, even if they haven't played it in ages. So let me know in the comments, are you actually considering RaceRoom, or does RaceRoom need to do something again completely different to get you involved if you're already on Le Mans Ultimate, Aestheticals, Evo or iRacing? Now let's check in on the truck sims, because American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 both dropped 1.59 bills last week, and the reaction has been a little bit mixed because Euro Truck Simulator 2 did get some meaningful map work, which is Benelux getting a decent update, and they've added the Volvo Trucks Experience Centre. although that's weirdly only for owners of the Scandinavian DLC, which is a bit annoying. But for some fans, the rest felt a little bit light. There's a tow to road feature, there's some small UI changes, but it still feels like SCS are in that phase where they're laying the groundwork for the bigger future features like Road Trip in American Truck Simulator, which you bet we'll be covering, and Coaches in Euro Truck Simulator 2. So it's kind of like a little bit on hold at the moment. Now make sure to subscribe if you like Sim Race Show. It really helps me out. Like genuinely, please subscribe. Please like the video as well. Leave a comment and please share the video on the forums to get people's opinions on the topics that we cover. You make the Sim Racing Show. I'm very grateful, and I'll see you in episode 106 next week.